My BFF traded her body for the title of VP, only to be left at the airport by her lover after losing her job. As her husband cried to take her home, I pressed send, and the company whistleblower email instantly set the internet ablaze. Subterfuge in the workplace? I have been friends since middle school. We know everything about each other. Our families are basically one big family now. We tell each other everything. Recently she came to me and told me she's been having an affair for about 4 months with her superior at her new job. She started about a year ago. She told me not out of guilt, but to brag about the dream vacation she's going on with her affair partner. Disguised as a work trip she asked me to cover for her. Her husband asks whether we've been in contact, because she's planning on going dark for that week, so he would have no way of finding out. Side note, we've both known her husband since high school. They are high school sweethearts, so they've been together for almost 15 years. Her husband is one of the most honest, hard-working, genuine people I know. He, of course, took everything she said about working late and the business trip at face value, because he trusts her more than he trusts himself. I told her I would not be covering for her, and to get out of my house, cause I couldn't even look at her right now. Later I told my husband everything that happened, and he was just as shocked and disgusted. Her husband is basically his best friend now, so he, of course, has a lot of loyalty to him as well. My husband pointed out something I didn't even think of. Our security camera caught everything. We plan on going to her husband tonight with the proof. It will be up to him to do what he wishes with it, but he deserves to know. Secondly, we're taking this to her job. As far as I know, fraternization of any kind is prohibited at her workplace. She was also promoted once by the same supervisor, so this could be seen as favoritism. Our guess is that they will both be fired. Finally, I'm going to send a snippet of her admitting the affair to all of her family, including mine. As I said, our families are very intertwined, so I will easily be able to contact the majority of her family. I'm not going to give her a chance to spin this against me or her husband. Some may think this is harsh, but I wholeheartedly disagree with what she's doing. /relevant comments. Commenter: you should leave it up to the husband whether the workplace and her family are told. Also, AP, please be prepared for her husband to stay with his wife and cut you and your husband off. Marriages are complicated, and sometimes things don't play out the way you imagine they will. You should tell him 100%, but what he does with that information is up to him. And please remember that this is not just blowing up your ex-friend's life, it's blowing up her husband's life too. It's his call whether he wants to go nuclear or not. Ops response: I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he decided to stay with her. He's a very forgiving man and may be willing to give it a shot. As tough as it will be, we do see ourselves going no contact with both of them, unless a divorce were to take place, because as much as we'd love to continue being friends and support him, if ex-best friend is part of the deal, we can't support that. Adds an edit to her post. I decided to take the advice of some of the commenters and leave it up to her husband to decide whether to go nuclear or not. As some of you pointed out, he may decide to stay with her, and going nuclear would ruin his life in turn. The other reason is that going nuclear and making her lose her job could affect the outcome of the divorce. We still plan to tell him, but we have decided against the other two options for now. I'm going to let her husband know that if she tries to pin this on either of us or tells anyone a single lie, I will do a 180 and go nuclear. I will not be seen as a villain in a situation I didn't even ask to be in the first place. She was the one who thought it would be smart to tell her monogamous friend with traditional values that she's cheating on her spouse. She can lie in her bed. Commenter 2: I know you have already heeded the advice of folks advising you to only tell her husband, but I implore you to examine the righteous urge. You seem to have to destroy your friend's life. That is actually really troubling. She made a decision you disagree with, and suddenly you think it's your right and duty to ruin her life. That's not just, it's vindictive, reckless and cruel, and you're not even the party she harmed with her actions. Ops response: I just think it's extremely vile. Friendship aside, that someone is willing to cheat on their spouse to get a raise at work, because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about for her. This man is giving her gifts and enabling her to earn more money, neither of which she earned. I feel some of my anger is misplaced, and is more toward this horrible supervisor, who would rather prey on new hires than give promotions to people who are dedicated and know the field, just because they are willing to sleep with them. I'm also extremely upset she cheated on her husband. Like I said, he is the most genuine, hardworking man I've met. He works upwards of 14-hour shifts. He'd give her the clothes off his back if it would put a smile on her face. This is the kind of stuff that completely breaks good, genuine people. Op adds a second edit to her post. I will be referring to my best friend as Alyssa. Fake name, and her husband is Noah. Also fake name. I decided to reach out to Alyssa before I went to her husband. I recorded the conversation and let her know I was doing so for my safety. She still seemed extremely nonchalant about the whole thing. I told her I was worried for her and even for her. This was very out of character behavior. Long story short, she's felt very weak and unbalanced in her and newest marriage. For context, Noah went to a trade school and makes very good money, while up until her promotion, Melissa was making slightly more than minimum wage. She has recently been reading up on some anti-traditional values and the women in those forums attacked her for making less than her husband. She then explained that she noticed her supervisor was trying to flirt with her, and her internet friends told her to run with it and use him to get higher up. She of course did, but admitted she'd become emotionally attached to him as well. All in all, she admitted she doesn't really regret the affair because, in her words, it helped with her career and she found love. I told her she had the option to tell Noah the truth before me, but my husband and I were coming over tonight with a video of her admitting the affair, so she wouldn't be able to sway it in her favor again. She very nonchalantly said okay and hung up on me. I don't know what the heck is going on. I can't tell if she's having some sort of psychosis, or if she's literally just so detached from her marriage that she doesn't care what happens. My husband and I still plan on going to Noah tonight, but I'm honestly intrigued to see what she says to him, if she says anything at all. Update 2 days later. Apologies for not having time last night. We were obviously busy. I took a lot of people's advice and decided not to go nuclear. As many people said at the end of the day, it's not my circus. The decision should be left up to the wrong party, and that is Noah. I also decided to reach out to Alyssa before telling Noah, and give her a chance to confess to him herself. After I talked to her, I was seriously considering reaching out to her parents about medical help, because she was so unbothered and so non-remorseful about the affair, that I thought she might be having some sort of mental break or psychosis. Yeah, Alyssa's always been the type to find loopholes or ways ahead, but cheating on your spouse of almost 2 decades for financial gain, it's not normal. If you didn't see my small update, the whole reason Alyssa started the affair was to get the promotion at work. It eventually evolved into an emotional affair. She admitted that her new friends from some feminism forums and Facebook groups told her she wasn't as valuable if she was making significantly less than her spouse, something I've learned she's been more insecure about than she's led on. They also told her that using a man isn't cheating, as long as there's no emotional attachment. She's just being a girl boss. She admitted she couldn't separate her feelings from the intimate aspect, and started going on regular dates and vacations. Eventually they started calling each other boyfriend and girlfriend. The affair partner knows she's married, but was told they were on the verge of separation. My husband and I arrived at Noah Analysis with some drinks and dinner, and by the time we got there, Noah had already gone through a bottle of wine. Surprisingly, Alyssa did confess to Noah about the affair. He told us it was extremely non-apologetic though. She sat him down and told him that she wasn't going on a business trip this week. She was going on a vacation with her boyfriend. Noah, being the clueless and loyal person he is, thought she meant to say husband and was so excited. He asked that they were going to Italy like they had planned, and Alyssa just stared at him. She repeated, with my boyfriend. It took a few minutes, but it finally sunk in. He told us it wasn't pretty after that, and said he embarrassingly got on his knees and begged her to fix everything. She yelled for a bit but then just stonewalled him again. She was already packed to leave and just left him there sobbing. She turned off her location. Noah and I were both part of her family on the app, and we have no idea where she went. We assume she went to her affair partner's house, because if she had gone home with 2 suitcases, her mother would have reached out to Noah immediately. She sees him as a son. We sat down with Noah and said we had video and audio proof of Alyssa exposing and explaining the affair, and we would send them to him in case he needs them. I explained to him that in a moment of blind rage, I was planning on going scorched earth and telling everyone, but once I calmed down and looked at this rationally, I realized that wasn't the right thing to do. The only person going full nuclear would hurt with him, because Alyssa obviously doesn't care anymore. As I suspected, the idea of reconciliation is still on his mind, but he doesn't see it happening. In order to reconcile, both parties must admit fault and want to reconcile, and Alyssa clearly doesn't. We've gotten him in contact with a friend of Mihabi, who's agreed to help him pro bono until the divorce shows results. I can tell he's still hesitant about going forward with the divorce, but he knows he also can't force Alyssa to stay. This is where we bow out. We're obviously going to continue to support Noah, but it's not our situation to handle. This is if there are any future updates. I'll of course ask Noah first, but you'll be the second to know. Thanks for being so supportive and helpful. It made me realize that how Noah handles his life and his marriage is his responsibility, not mine. Edit wanted to clear up some questions from the last post that I didn't really answer in the update. What did Alyssa ever do to you that made you want to go so nuclear? Honestly, nothing in particular. Like I said, for the past few years, our friendship has been for convenience at its best. We've basically been friends because we know each other so well, and we have at least one friend in common. Alyssa has always had qualities I don't agree with, but who doesn't? I think it was just the whole situation that made my blood boil, especially since Alyssa has always been disgusted by cheaters. She was the kind of person to cut dozens of people out of her life if it meant not supporting someone's infidelity. So for her to make a complete 180 and not even have guilt for it, just grinds my gears. That's part of the reason I think she's having some sort of mental breakdown. Not only is it hypocritical, it's extremely out of character even for her. Are you in love with Noah? Of course not. Singing someone's praises and trying to portray that they're a genuine and good person doesn't automatically mean you want to sleep with them. Our relationship has been nothing more than platonic for the entire time I've known him. because he loved Alyssa and I loved their happiness. I love my husband and literally only ever saw Noah like a brother. Second update 8 days later. Well, I didn't expect to be back so soon. But the last week has basically been a speed run of terrible events. This will probably be my last update. So feel free to consider this the conclusion of the events. Everything bad that could have happened. The past 2 days specifically had been absolutely horrible. Sorry if this is all over the place. I'm still all over the place, so I don't know if it was the day she left or the day after. But Alyssa, an affair partner, went on their vacation. The only reason I know is because she posted pictures all over social media of her. An affair partner, she had absolutely no shame. It was very clear that even if she wasn't divorced, this was her new boyfriend, which of course notified her family of the issues. Noah's phone was blowing up with apologies, accusations, everything you could think of. Noah, being the people pleaser he is, decided to tell her family they were on a mutual break, instead of telling everybody she cheated. And that was the affair partner. Alyssa's mom fortunately didn't believe him and came to me. I didn't hold back. I told her that she's been cheating on Noah for months, and that she recently bragged to me about her sugar daddy, affair partner, and that's the only reason she came clean to Noah. Alyssa's mom then dropped a bomb on me that even I didn't know. Alyssa is a serial cheater. Her mom said in high school, Alyssa would bring boys home, under the guise of school projects or sports-related things, but she caught Alyssa kissing 2 different boys. Keep in mind she was dating Noah all this time. She said she didn't think much of it, and just chalked it up to being a crazy, hormonal teenager. She also said she never expected her to marry her high school boyfriend, and by the time they were married, she figured Alyssa had stopped doing all this stuff. Neither her nor I have any idea if she's done anything like that since high school through to the present, but I'm not interested in digging further into it. This just explains why Alyssa was so nonchalant about cheating, because apparently she has always done it. I'm guessing her girl boss friends awoke something inside her, and she remembered how easily and nonchalantly she would cheat, and it inspired her to just do it again. I don't know, I'll be honest. I kind of yelled at her mother, something I'm not proud of. Like I've said in previous posts, Alyssa's mom is basically my mom, so formalities and everything aren't something I think about when I talk to her. So I freaked out and told her. She set Noah up for this kind of life, when he could have found somebody 10 times better. She took it like a champ and just let me vent until I was calm again. I apologized for yelling, but calmly said, you and I both know Noah deserved better. You should have said something before he got married to her. She agreed but said it's too late now to focus on that, and that the real issue at this time was supporting Noah. I told her if she wanted to support Noah, she could have told him his fiancée was a cheater 10 years ago, and hung up on her. I've since talked to her. We're fine, but I was just too mad at her in the moment. Next thing that happened was that the photos got back to a colleague, and both of them were out of a job before their vacation was even over, as I assumed their workplace was extremely upset, and did consider Alyssa getting the promotion favoritism, and they were both let go. Noah told me there were at least 3 HR complaints about them, so it was a no-brainer, of course. The beautiful relationship Alyssa and her affair partner had turned sour as soon as he learned he was let go from his 6-figure job. Because of her, he was so pissed, he even canceled Alyssa's plane ticket home out of spite, and planned to leave her stranded there. This is where all of you will be disappointed, and so am I. But Noah immediately forgave her, bought her a ticket and moved her back in. She told him it was just a huge mistake, and seeing how her affair partner treated her made her realize what she could have lost. It's obviously all BS to my husband and me, but you already know Noah ate that up. He's told us that he's urging her to go to couples counseling, but of course it's not an ultimatum. So basically, she just got to have her cake and eat it with no consequences. We told Noah previously, and reminded him that if he decided to take Alyssa back, we'd be going at the very least flow contact. We kept to our word and have completely blocked Alyssa. We have Noah unblocked, but don't plan to engage in small talk or invitations to stuff. We refuse to be like him and just act like this never happened, because that's not normal. He understood, but told us he has to stand by the vows he made to his wife, which we both understand to an extent and wished him well. So yep, Alyssa got to sleep with another man, go on an ice vacation, lose her job and still gets a bed and a husband to come home to. All's well that ends well. I don't even know how to feel about this. Like if they want to live their messed up, broken marriage life, that's their choice. I'm not even mad anymore, just drained. I'm almost glad it's over now, because I don't know if I could deal with this for months on end. I knew this was going to happen eventually. It's just who Noah is, but it feels just as idiotic as it sounds. I don't know, I'm just rambling at this point. I'm glad we decided to step back because honestly, both of them have very clear psychological issues that need to be addressed with a professional, but neither of them will ever do that. I'd rather be rid of people like this. Sorry if I'm being blunt or mean, but at the end of the day, both of them have issues I didn't sign up to deal with. I don't need this kind of stress while hobby and I are trying for kids. So yeah, I guess this is it. /relevant comments commenter. I feel for Noah, he'll always be a sucker for her, and she'll always get away with anything. No consequences for anything. Couples counseling is not an ultimatum. Maybe one day he'll catch her with a guy in their own bed, and he'll snap out of it. You did the right thing the way you handled it and distanced yourself. Right now don't turn your back on Noah though. He's going to need people. Comment or two. I feel no sympathy for Noah. He needs to find his balls from wherever she hid them, because she will cheat on him again and again, and he will always stupidly take her back. You're completely justified in staying away from that mess. Third update 1 month later. It's been about a month since I last posted. I wasn't planning on updating, but the most hilarious thing happened with Alyssa and Noah, and I needed to share it. Bear with me. This is all through the grapevine, because my husband and I are still no contact with them. So first off, Noah has rewarded Alyssa's cheating with another vacation. They're planning to go to Italy for their vow renewal. Their plan is to basically start over their marriage, even though they've been together for 15 plus years. Not gonna lie, I burst out laughing when I was told this. I just think it's so hilarious that they're both going to sweep this under the rug and try to act like their life didn't implode. But hey, if it makes them happy, who am I to stop them? The second thing is they've decided to try for a baby. One thing Alyssa and I always bonded over was being conservatives, who wanted to be child-free. Neither of us felt like we would be good mothers. Of course, since we live in a largely conservative community, with conservative families, we were always basically bullied into changing our minds. But we had each other, that's the important part. Once I met my husband, I kind of changed my mind about kids. We're currently trying as well. But Alyssa never swayed. The last conversation we had about her family, pressuring her into having kids, was about 2 months ago, a week or two before the cheating incident. Not only do I think this is a terrible idea, because the baby is going to grow up in a dysfunctional family, I guarantee Alyssa won't love this child. I honestly just feel pity for everyone involved. Now Noah for thinking his life has to be staying with a cheater. Alyssa for basically forcing herself to live a life she doesn't want. And their future child for being born into this dumpster fire. But yet consider this the official end. Maybe I'll be back in a year or two, when it turns out Noah has been raising another man's baby.